Okay, that was let's get some 10 baggers. That's our goal for 2023. All right, welcome everybody to Wall Street Reporter's next Super Stock live stream for January 4th. This is our first live stream of the brand new year. And look, we're ready for the 10 baggers. Look, the goal of our program, next Super Stock, is to bring you those stocks which have that 10x to 100x upside potential. Companies going after massive multi-billion-dollar market opportunities that are at a key inflection point right now, and they have multiple catalysts in place, multiple shots on goal for potentially a 10x.
Solution is a three-part solution. It's a wearable like this that aggregates the biometric data from the user, combined with a phone app which applies our proprietary artificial intelligence to improve the readings and the feedback to the user, and all of that is then put up into a cloud platform which is available on a subscription basis, which aggregates all the data for the user over days, weeks, months, and years that the user, their healthcare team, doctors, nurses, pharmacists, therapists, and so on, can all have access to on an ongoing basis. So it's a complete end-to-end solution designed to give personal and immediate and actionable feedback to the user with respect to their ongoing health concerns. So that's what we do as a business. But what we're not.
How many patents do you, I mean, like you have a very broad patent position, which like touches a lot of these aspects that you know companies like, I don't know if it's Fitbit or Apple or whatever, but there's a lot of these guys. I think Whoop, WHOOP. It's enough.
Yeah.
So there's a whole bunch of these guys out there. I think Google owns them, but there's a whole bunch of these guys out there, and it looks like, I mean, based on my understanding, is that they could be infringing. And here's what we know. We know there's validity to this because you already had, I think this is the last time we warned, you said you had a company that came to you voluntarily. They just contacted you out of the blue, saying, hey, we want to license your technology because we have a device. We wanted to get a patent on it, and we checked, and apparently you have the patent. So, we'll take
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Jack. It's a company out of San Diego by the name of MedWatch, which is developing a non-invasive blood glucose monitoring device. And they went to patent their device, and lo and behold, they found that we already hold the patent on it. So they did the correct thing, and they came to us and said, yeah, we want to license this technology, and you've got the patent, so let's do a deal. And so we did. So for the next 25 years, we get $10,000 per month cash. Come rain or shine, plus 3% royalty on their sales, their direct sales, plus 10% on third-party sales.
This is like one tiny company. This is like one little company, and again, it's a very small company, but the whole business. So this is a drop in the bucket, but I think it's very important. It's a very important first step because this kind of validates what we've been talking about. Because listen, nobody contacts you out of the blue and says, "Hey, here's money." I mean, unless they have. So it tells me that there's something to this. So bottom line is where are you at now? Are you talking to? How far are you in conversations? Are you talking to law firms? Do you have a short list? Where are you at?
Okay. So sure. So let me just back up and talk about the patent for 1 second. So our patent covers the multiple configurations of wearable devices for the purpose of aggregating biometric data, and that biometric data includes heart rate variability, blood pressure, ECGs, blood oxygen level, blood glucose, body temperature, and a few other measurements.
So you're covering everything, basically.
Right. So basically, our patent that's been granted now by the U.S. Patent Office covers the use of a wearable for all those purposes for the ultimate goal of monitoring and improving the health of the wearer. So I want your viewers out there to do this mental exercise. if they're, a patron of the Apple Watch or Fitbit or Google Watch or Samsung, and say to yourself, does my watch measure my blood pressure? Does my watch measure my heart rate or oxygen level or blood glucose level or any of these things? If you said yes, then that watch is more than likely infringing upon Healthgage's patent, because we've got the patent that covers all that. So, so it's this, this grand, all-encompassing patent. Now, what does that mean at the end of the day? Are we going to be able to go out there and prevent every company, the Apples and Samsungs of the world from using this technology? No, and that's not the intention. The intention, in fact, in the courts, and I've had some personal experience on this in another company that I was involved with previously, where we defended our patent rights. And what ends up happening when you get into the court system is that the judges actually are not looking to award damages or to punitively award money to the company against the violator. What they're really looking to do is to have the two parties sit down in a non-binding arbitration setting and work out a licensed solution. And that's the ultimate goal of every patent case that goes in front of the courts. Is that's what the judge is really trying to do, is get an amicable settlement. And that would be our perfect world scenario as well, is to have all these various companies out there who are doing these various things to monitor and help the user improve their overall health and wellness, force them to come to us and in an amicable way license the technology from us, which we're more than happy to do. So, and how big can that be? It's impossible to say at this point is really the answer. We do know that the market in the US alone is worth many tens of billions of dollars, and that there's many big industry players who it looks very much like they may be in violation of our patent. So the potential for us to to gain significantly from this is substantial. How substantial?
So here's what I love about this. So this is the great thing. Is again, I'm looking at this purely from an investor perspective. Again, I'm looking at it kind of like I talk about this. This is I wrote this book which is about finding stocks that have 10x, 100x upside. Which we've had in the last couple of years. 10 of those that went up 10x, 50x, a bunch more. But the point is this. The ideal situation, the ideal setup is we need to find stock. Investors need to find stocks where you have this big upside potential that's not reflected in the price. Where you're getting in basically in this asymmetric setup where you're getting into a stock where the value is so cheap that you really have almost no downside. Again, we're not making recommendations, advice, or whatever, but the value, the bottom line is this: AIML. How many shares are outstanding? What's, in other words, the valuation fully diluted is how many shares are out right now?
Fully diluted, less than 40 million. Issued and outstanding today, about 36 million shares.
Okay, so it's $40 million. So that's like basically that's less than $5 million valuation American. Less than $5 million. So basically, look at this, the way Warren Buffett would look at this and say, look, I'm paying $5 million for this company. Now they have all this other stuff which we're going to get into later, but basically it's an option, right? Potentially the payout on this patent position, I would say, is worth a lot more. Just the fundamental intrinsic value of your patent is worth a lot more than $5 million, because for, let's say, a Google or whoever is that could be potentially infringing, some of these guys might say, hey, we just want to buy these guys out. They're too much of a pain, whatever. Now they would pay much more than $5 million, but here, the way I look at this, the market is, let's say, 20 billion, the wearables market, right? And typical royalties, let's say 2% roughly, 2%, 1%.
That's not unreasonable. 2% is in the ballpark.
So we're talking about 40 million a year. Let's say 40 million a year that could be coming in, which is pure cash flow. You're not going to get. Let's say it's not 40 million. Let's say it's only 10 million. let's say it's only $10 million that could be coming in from licensing fees a year, right? What should the company be worth? The company should be worth, I don't know, 10 times cash flow, because basically it's a pure, it's an income stream, right? Plus you have other stuff. So could the company be worth $100 million? Potentially could be worth 50 million, 10 times that. I mean, so I'm looking at this. This is why I see this as the 10 bagger, the 10x is kind of built into the stock. Again, we're not making recommendations. We can't say these things. We're not saying like, hey, but the reality is that you have a valuable patent, and somebody needs to analyze. I think when you get into conversations with the law firms, they're going to look at this and say, hey, here's what can be done, etc. And I think what's going to happen is, once you get down the road, once there's some traction with maybe you get some settlements, maybe some licenses come in, all of a sudden then investors will realize, wow, this is legit. Because right now it's not reflected in the stock at all. Basically, the stock is trading at like almost like a public shell, basically at the current value.
Sure.
It's like
you're absolutely right. The market's giving us zero value for our business potential.
Giving me zero value, nothing. It's free. It's basically, the stock is free. I mean, we're not saying we're not making recommendations, but it's basically so potentially this, if we get some traction with some settlements, which could be, I don't know, it might take a couple months, I think, right? By the time you find a law firm, they start doing their thing. This is not going to happen tomorrow. It's going to, over the next 3 to 6 months, the story will unfold.
I would expect, and again, in my past experience that involved patent infringement, it actually took longer than that before we ultimately came to a settlement. But that was on one front. That was with one company.
But he got so many. There's probably, I don't know, countless evildoers, as George W. Bush would say. I mean, unintentional evildoers out there that they need to be brought in line and basically.
There are a significant amount of devices on the marketplace today that potentially are in violation of our patent. Beyond a doubt, it's substantial.